It's Ian here. I'm here to tell you about something really exciting that happened to me recently, and indeed something that happened to Chicago at large. And that is the opening of the Alamo Drafthouse Wrigleyville, which is located at 3519 North Clark Street, right across the way from Wrigley Field. Now, if you've heard about the Alamo Drafthouse as a theater chain, but never actually gotten to experience it, as have I didn't even realize this is the 39th theater that they've opened up nationwide. So it's a phenomenon that may actually be happening at a theater near you. But in case that's not the case for you, a little bit of background here. I've been hearing about this theater for decades now. It was started in 1997 by Tim and Carrie League, who left their jobs as scientists, from what I understand, to pursue their love of the movie-going experience and to offer something that hadn't really been done before, at least on a mass scale. Things like offering the dine-in kind of in-theater experience, a zero tolerance policy for talking on cell phones and being obnoxious and chattering during a movie. In fact, there is a famous example of a disgruntled patron leaving a rather profane voice message on the Alamo Drafthouse, I guess, voicemail a number of years ago that they have turned into a really funny advertisement that plays in front of the movies that they show at the various Alamo Draft Houses, warning you of what will happen if you talk or otherwise annoy patrons at the theater. So yeah, they started off in Austin, Texas, and they branched out to a number of places, as I mentioned. But it's one of those deals where I don't live in Texas. I don't think I've ever actually been to Texas, but I've always wanted to make a pilgrimage out there to experience the Alamo Draft House. But now it's a half-hour drive from my house, which is great. But what's so special about Alamo Draft House, and why am I here talking about it? Well, I was invited, along with various other members of the Chicago media press, of which I'm oddly a member, to attend a pre-launch opening night event a couple weeks back. And I went with my wife, and it turns out a number of Earth's Mightiest critics were there. So it was a big kind of a party, a 6 hour open bar, I believe it was. But we got to tour the theater, see what it had to offer. I'm going to be putting up some slides and photos and a little bit of video of what we were able to see there for your enjoyment. So if you're in the area, if you're planning to come to Chicago and you want to experience Alamo Wrigleyville, this will give you a flavor of what they have to offer. Now, it's kind of a unique experience, as I mentioned. There are other kind of dine-in concepts, some that I've been to out here in the Midwest, but I haven't quite seen one like this. Well, first of all, I got to crack open my handy Alamo Drafthouse. This is the swag bag that they passed out. It's a VHS clamshell style gift box, and inside are all sorts of goodies and coupons and a really cool pin from Video Vortex, which I'll talk about in a minute. That is their video rental store. Yes, an actual VHS, DVD, Blu-ray video rental service. But anyway, in terms of the dining experience, when you go into their one of their theaters, the chairs are unbelievably comfortable. They're all the leather recliners and all that good stuff. But also they have the little swing out tables, and on the table or underneath the table, I guess, is the big beautiful menu, which of course is all movie themed, and the food is all delicious. Uh, and they have these cards. So you essentially look through the menu, you write down on one of these handy dandy order cards. Yes, I swiped one, sorry. But it's for the purposes of the video, so people can understand what they're getting at. But yeah, you write it down, you stick it in a little slot at the front of the thing, and then a server comes out, kind of hunched down, very ninja style, trying to be as unobtrusive as possible, confirms your order, and then runs out. This is all before the movie starts. And so then you get your food, ideally before the movie begins. And then discreetly, they'll come back out later and give you your bill and you pay it and all that good stuff. But the idea is to be as unobtrusive as possible while giving you some really high class, high quality food. I mean, I had the cheeseburger, my wife had the chicken club, and they're delicious. I mean, I don't know what a gourmet chicken club sandwich or cheeseburger tastes like, but I can say this is as close to gourmet as I can imagine for theater food. Also, I gotta say, if you're going there, I recommend getting the churro popcorn, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's gooey, buttery popcorn with cinnamon sugar on it and little bits of churro cut up and spliced into it. You don't know that you need this in your life, but trust me, if you're into popcorn and churros and just delicious sweet things, you need that in your life. What else happened at this Wrigleyville thing? Well, as I mentioned, we got a tour. The theater itself is bonkers. I think I haven't done video about this, but I think I've shared some pictures in older videos and perhaps some podcasts and some articles on Kicking the Seat, where I used to go to the Hollywood Palms and Hollywood Boulevard theaters out in the suburbs of Chicago years ago. They've got memorabilia and great glass cases with all sorts of costumes and props and stuff. The Alamo Drafthouse Wrigleyville blows all of that stuff out of the water. It's a bit sensory overloadish at first. It's almost impossible to find a focal point of what to look at and what to kind of go gaga over. From the oversized replicas of classic movie posters, a lot of kind of foreign variants of posters in these beautiful frames, to movie props, to a bar it looks literally propped up by VHS tapes. Yeah, it's a lot. Of course, they have the requisite you know, lobby cards and things like that sprinkled all over. They have a giant sculpture of televisions playing, classic videos and things like that. So yeah, it is a place not to just go see a movie, but a place to hang out. I mean, it's a full service, bar, and you can get like food there and stuff. But it's not just a regular kind of generic mall multiplex where you go and I'm going to go buy some popcorn and have a movie. It's really a place to go and hang out before, during, and after the show. I mentioned Video Vortex beforehand. It's a fully functioning video store that you can rent. Have something like 11,000 and plus curated VHS, DVDs, and Blu-rays that you can rent for free for 5 days at a stretch. It's a brilliant plan because it forces you to physically take the media back to the theater, and while you're there, probably go see a movie and buy some drinks and have some concessions. So it's a great concept. They even go so far as to have available VHS, like VCRs and DVD players that you can also rent along with your media if you don't happen to have one of those lying around. I'm all good there, as you can see in the wall of dead technology, but behind me, it's not really dead; it's just unplugged in. But yeah, the great thing about Alamo Drafthouse, and Tim League, the co-founder, was actually there to do some introductions. He introduced it, like, people from the marketing team, and introduced the head chef of the Wrigleyville location, and also John Hughes' son was there for the ribbon cutting, because this theater is dedicated to the late great John Hughes, and that was part of the preview night festivities. Is the folks there were all treated to watch one of, I believe, 5 John Hughes classic movies. They had Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Pretty in Pink, The Breakfast Club, and the movie I chose, because I hadn't seen this film in a couple of decades, Weird Science, which I forgot was a John Hughes film. I always thought it was one of those John Hughes adjacent movies, but no, that's all him. And I saw it in one of the smaller theaters, which, yes, there is one kind of large theater that I imagine they're going to be showing a lot of the first run, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania movies at. But then they have smaller theaters which have less seating, but the experience is consistent throughout in terms of the seating and the projection. They've got, what do they call these things? It is a Cineonic 4K laser projection and Dolby surround sound. Not quite I didn't experience the butt rumble phenomenon of some of the Dolby, I guess the Atmos theaters that they've got, the AMC. I don't know, they might have that in some capacity, but with Weird Science, it's not exactly a butt rumbling experience. But I will say that when my wife and I sat down to watch Weird Science, first of all, uh, in keeping with the fun of the Alamo Drafthouse, they had kind of trinkets, favors for each screening that were themed. Weird Science, if you know, involves Elon Mitchell Smith and Anthony Michael Hall creating a woman out of their home computer in the mid 1980s, and out comes Kelly LeBrock, who also has magical powers. And it's charming, it's cringe, it's imaginative, it's great. So check it out if you can. But during the ceremony at which they're bringing Kelly LeBrock to life, they wore bras on their heads. Don't ask me why, but yeah, we got free bras, everybody to wear, and I wore one on my head for part of the screening. It was great. We also got whoopee cushions, which, folks, there was an exception to the let's not make noise and annoy patrons for the press, I guess, because there are a lot of inflated whoopee cushions going off all throughout the screening, which was a lot of fun during appropriate and inappropriate times. But just watching Weird Science in this theater, I've been to a lot of movie theaters, a lot of different kinds of theaters, and I can say this presentation. I don't know if it's the Cineonic 4K laser projection, which I don't really know exactly what that means, but it was so crisp. I mean, this wasn't projected on film or anything. The Draft House brand, according to Tim League, is actually experimenting with the idea of doing some kind of like a further boutique theater concept where they actually show films on film, but that's not it. This is all digital, but it looks so crisp, so good that I felt like I was watching a brand new movie, and the sound was just perfectly comfortable. It wasn't too loud. It wasn't too soft. It was, I think, the best movie going experience I've ever had, in just a regular theater. So yeah, A plus marks for that. I also ended up sitting. My wife and I sat next to Joe Swanberg, the local indie filmmaker, kind of legend, and that was very interesting. Also, I gotta say, in terms of just the experience of being in that smaller auditorium, I think this is the smallest dine-in movie theater that I've ever been in. It's great because even if you're in there with strangers, it still feels very intimate. It feels kind of like a party atmosphere. Everyone's very respectful, but there's just something so impersonal about sitting in one of those giant, you know, uh, multi-hundred seat kind of stadium deals that just feel you can kind of feel disconnected. I felt very close with everyone watching Weird Science, partially because we're all laughing and having a great time. Um, what else is there? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. But there's tons of reasons to go visit the Alamo Drafthouse at least once. Go for the experience. It's a little bit pricey in some areas, but you pay for the location, you pay for the quality of everything they're trying to do there. It is really a special occasion, I think, kind of movie going experience. So I definitely recommend it. I can't think of any negatives really. I mean, they are trying to iron out some kinks in terms of how everyone gets served and making sure everything runs smoothly. But when I was there for preview night, I didn't see any growing pains really. So yeah, it looks like after 39 theaters, they really know what they're doing. Also, I should mention that if you like the experience and you love going to movies, you can actually buy a monthly membership to them. They're sort of competing with AMC and Regal and all that, where you can get these, and even Movie Pass, which has been resurrected from the dead somehow. Mark the Movie Man Krawcheck, my good friend from the Spoiler Room and Special Mark Productions, actually has a Movie Pass, and I'm watching him with eager interest to see how that all pans out. But Alamo Drafthouse has their own version. You can subscribe. I think it's $30 a month, but you can go see one movie a day if you want to in this great theater. So yeah, if you're a movie junkie and you got to get your fix and you don't mind paying for parking and concessions, I mean you can get there via public transportation, all that stuff. But they have valet parking if anyone cares about that. Not valet parking, validated parking. What am I trying to say? So yeah, you can go there and watch pretty much a movie a day for $30. And while you're there, you can rent classic movies on VHS and all this other stuff. I will say, I think I mentioned that Tim League was there, and he really got into it. He's a movie nut, and he's passionate about the movie going experience for not only the journalists who are there trying to make I guess their purpose was to put out the good word and make Alamo Drafthouse look good. They don't need any help in that department, but also for fans of movies, he and Carrie really set out to make something special to preserve the movie going experience, something you can't get watching a movie on your phone or just on your living room. Really a communal, amazing experience. And he committed to it so much that he gave his kind of opening remarks dressed as Ferris Bueller, complete with wig and bathrobe. And then he came in to introduce Weird Science dressed in an approximation of Kelly LeBrock's gym teacher outfit. She wore it better, but I do admire the effort. Anyway, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, go to Alamo Drafthouse. You can visit their website. I'll have all that information below. If you're in Chicago, I think you kind of owe it to yourself to try the Drafthouse at least once. I guarantee you're going to want to go back. Yeah, it's a kind of a new way to enjoy movies. I know there was some chatter during the kind of the festivities. We had the journos had a lot of time to hang out at the bar and talk about various things like how cool this place is, but what does it mean, kind of big picture for Chicago cinema. Chaz Ebert was actually in attendance and asked some questions of Tim League, which I'll have some video of that playing at the end here. And he answered, very candidly about, why Chicago, why this location, what does this mean for other, theaters in the area, including the Music Box, which is the other kind of, it's practically just up the street from the Alamo Drafthouse. It is a classic kind of art house movie palace from, it's over 100 years old at this point, or sorry, almost 100 years. I'm getting all kind of fuzzy. But, it is not a state-of-the-art theater, but it does show, classic movies, newer art house movies, a lot of events, a lot of Q&As. I love the Music Box. If you followed this channel for any length of time, you know how much I dig the Music Box. And I think some people are seeing the Alamo Drafthouse as competition, but I believe Matt Fagerholm, who wrote a piece for rodreaper.com, which I'll also include down below, believes that they can coexist. They're not going to necessarily steal each other's business, but they can kind of, there are now two great destinations in Chicago for people to see different kinds of movies. That is one thing I did want to mention. Because there is only one, semi-big theater at the Alamo Drafthouse, Wrigleyville. That's gonna be the place where you see like the big blockbusters. But the smaller ones, they have all sorts of great kind of alternative programming. They've got horror movie themed events and noir night and all, something for everyone. Emphasis on foreign cinema. So it's got that kind of high production, state-of-the-art multiplex feel to it, with a true indie spirit and a dedication to all things film and to broadening the horizons, if audience members so choose to have them broadened, of a place like the Music Box. So the future is here. Alamo has been around long enough, but I mean, for me, I think this is the kind of place that I want to watch movies in, put on by the kind of people who love movies as much as I do, and hopefully as much as you do. So with that, I'll stop rambling. Go below for all sorts of fun information. Stick around to watch some of that Q&A that I mentioned. I hope you've enjoyed the pictures. It was great seeing Earth's Mightiest critics, or some of them, the local folks who were able to join. It was great kind of reuniting and all that. I should also mention, in addition to Joe Swanberg, it was announced that Dave Franco and Allison Brie were supposed to be there. I don't believe they showed. I didn't see them, but they were in Chicago I think the week afterwards, because they've got a new movie out. But there was an odd celebrity sighting at the event. I didn't snap any pictures because I was too busy trying to figure out how I was seeing, what I was seeing, and who I was seeing. It's no secret that I'm a fan of trash reality television, including The Bachelor, more specifically Bachelor in Paradise. And I saw Kenny and Mari there, which will mean something to exactly two of you. But suffice it to say, it took me a second to figure out, who they were, mostly because I'm not used to seeing Kenny with his clothes on. But anyway, that's Alamo Drafthouse, Wrigleyville. Go check it out. I've said that like a billion times. I'm going to say it 1,000,001 times. It's really worth your time. And yeah, thanks. And if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. If you didn't enjoy the video, tell me why down in the comments. I can take it. But until next time, whenever that is, whatever that is, thanks very much for watching Kicking the Seat, and take care.
Tim, do you want to talk a little bit about Wrigleyville?
Sure. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest that if you know this location and this site, this is a bit of a COVID casualty in a way, in that Cinemex actually built the core of this theater and then abandoned it during COVID. And so we went through a process of picking up where they left off. So we did a lot of our own touches, but the site was chosen. So we our process is we hop on a plane and we spend some time here, get to know the neighborhood during the day and during the night, talk to our friends, and we fell in love with Wrigleyville too. So it worked out just nicely. It's a little COVID silver lining, if you will, for us, not for them.
I think there was another question. Yeah, right over here.
Do you guys have an IMAX?
No. We in some of our locations, again, this theater was largely constructed before we arrived, so there wasn't. We have an internal spec called the Big Show, which is it's our premium large format, and so we have a very high standard for what the screen size is, and none of the screens met that. We do that in a lot of our new build locations, ground up construction. So we probably have about 7 Big Show theaters. Don't have any IMAX theaters, although they seem like lovely people.
Question right over in the stairwell.
Do you have any plans for expanding in the Chicago area?
we have desires. We would love to expand, and it's typical of what we do is like we entered the New York market in Yonkers, and then we opened up Brooklyn, and then we opened up Manhattan and Staten Island, and so when we come someplace, that usually means that we're gonna keep on looking for opportunities to expand within that city, but nothing concrete right yet.
Speaking of film festivals, I know Nick over there is one of the co-founders of the Found Footage Film Festival.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Are you ever gonna bring that here?
Yeah, we'll be here in April. They made a movie about us called Chop and Steal that's screening at Drafthouse Films bought it, so we'll be in April screening that here with a live element to it, showing goofy found VHS tapes, which miraculously fits the theme of the bar here. So it's just kind of dovetailed nicely there. But yeah, this will be a regular venue for us. We love the Music Box too, but this is a great different feeling theater for us. So yeah, definitely.
One of the most difficult parts about being in a chain theater these days is projection and sound is not always up where it sort of should be. You go into one theater, it's too dark because the bulbs are not bright enough. You go into another theater, the sound is too low, and so you have to walk out and tell them to turn it up. So can you talk a little bit about the projection and sound in these 6 theaters and what your kind of commitment is to that?
That's quality of presentation. I think is basically table stakes. It's one of the most important things about the cinema experience. And so, you can see from the theater array that, it's obviously immersive surround sound. We have some big muscle and big subs behind. But we do take great pride in having a strong AV staff here. And so it's not true of every theater, but our projection team has a light meter, for example, knows how to use it. And we regulate, one of the basic things is knowing if a channel has gone out. And so we're regularly testing that. And one of the beautiful things also is that we've got a big staff that comes in and cleans the theaters, and so we do audio checks regularly throughout the day. It's like, it has to be great, honestly, and if it's ever not great, God, I want to know about it. I'm tim.league at drafthouse.com. You find it bad, you tell me, and then heads aren't going to roll, but heads are going to roll. No, I don't know. We'll fix it, right? Because we want to know it is the most essential thing. And if sound is anemic or a picture is dim, a lot of times you don't actually necessarily process that, but you're not as engaged in the movie. So it has to be great, and it has to be best in class. It's our commitment as a brand, every single screen, every single location.
Maria?
Do you have the capacity to project on film?
Currently, no, but it is our commitment. We have probably the largest number of dedicated film screens of any circuit in America. So it is in the roadmap to do that. But we don't have it at opening day. But you certainly have my commitment that we want to get there. And it's funny, like the press that you sometimes hear is just like that cinema's dead. Like, this is just, it's all streaming from here. And pardon my French, but I think that's just utter bullshit, right? Like the idea that, you have a kitchen in your house, but yet you still continue to go to restaurants, that's been proven and tried and true. Like, so it's the obligation of cinemas to have an incredible experience and compel you to come out of the home. And great directors want their movies to be seen with great presentation in this setting, not on a laptop while you're in bed multitasking, checking email, right? So I think the industry's strong. It's coming back. We actually had a great year last year, and this year is going to be even stronger. And so we got close to death during COVID, and I think Regal, who's currently closing, they're going through that same sort of restructuring process right now. So it's not like Regal is going to die. They're going to shed a few theaters. Maybe we'll pick up a couple of those theaters. Like, we're ready to march, we're ready to expand, and the 2023 is going to be a great year for exhibition.
Long live cinema.
Yeah. Amen.